Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going through the Geelong AFL Fantasy Preview for 2025. Yes, this one's being recorded. I think this one goes live on the 21st, so it's being recorded, I think, 10 days prior, but I don't know the exact dates for you guys. But Geelong, I think, are a pretty interesting side. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8 guys that I'm going through today, and definitely so 4 or 5 guys that I think will be fantasy relevant, even though they do have the early bye. So yeah, we'll just keep a track of them. But anyway, let's get into this video and get into the Geelong Cats for 2025. So as you can see here, as I do every time, I will have the AFL fantasy positions, and we'll just scroll through the players. The first one up is Max Holmes. Now, if we just check in for you guys, they have that round 3 nasty bye, which pretty much means that any primo status guy is just null and void, as they have nothing to go with. So Geelong, if you actually look at them, don't have any upper echelon primos, but they still do have like Max Holmes, Tom Stewart, which we'll talk about. But they're more so guys that you're not going to start and that you're more going to trade into after. So if we look at Max Holmes, and I'll bring up his stats here, and we'll do it this way so that I can easily get to other guys' stats, etc. when we go through the rookies. But let's go here, Max Holmes here, and bring up his stats. So in 2021, he played 9 games for a 55. 2022, 18 games for a 63. 2023, he played 21 games for a 76, and then in 2024, he played 25 games, as you can see on screen at the moment, for a 94.3, and you can see he started to get some kick-ins as well as some just an increase in his on-ball minutes year on year. So if we look at recently his stack of form to end it, he was sort of playing on ball. If we look at his on-ball minutes here, you'll see when he plays on ball predominantly, let's just say over 40%, he sort of gets 95.3, which is pretty much bang on what he averaged. He's priced at 93, is that 93 or 94.5? Don't know exactly what he's priced at. Let me just double check. It would be this one here, 94.5, which I believe is 970k. Let me just double check that. We did get a slight update to the magic number yesterday, which just meant that every one of the prices that I had earlier, so all the other videos that you'll see up until this one on the 21st will have, I think, about 1k out on most players. They could be some, it's just based on rounding effectively, that I'll be out on most players. Max Holmes is 969.57, so that gets rounded up to 970. You'll see there will be a couple guys that, he would have been off by, I just think, a fraction before I got that update, but he's now, I think, correct at 970k. And yeah, he had a very, as I say in my notes here, very mixed role for Holmes in 2024, and with Geelong having an early bye, it could be hard to start with him. I think that's pretty much a no-go, given that he has to massively outscore his price. He's probably going to go 102, 103, if not 104, to sort of, in that 100 to 102 to 104 range at least, to justify him with that early bye. I feel like, given that there'll probably be other defenders that you can get that will go at 102, priced at 102, and then you'll get extra value elsewhere. And it seems like, like I have down, and you'll see what I just showed you in this. If we scroll down here, 11 games, 95.3. If you look at his non midfield minutes here, and then scroll a little bit down here, and that is pretty much all of that. His non-midfield minutes, 95.2. So he goes 95.2 when he goes in sub 40% midfield, and 95.3 when he goes above 40% in the midfield, aside from injuries. That's as close as you can get. I don't think there's much value there to start with, and I think you can jump on him after his bye in round 3 if he does perform at a top 6 level and is a definite, is definitely above. Then we move on to Tom Stewart here, the second guy in this Geelong backline. We saw him take, and he is one of the interesting ones, I feel like, for this year. But we always say this, every single year we go, oh, Tom Stewart, I wonder. And if we actually look at it, if you remove that, he had an injury game against West Coast. If you remove his couple of injury games, I think from the system here, given that he had quite a few injuries because he always has a darn injury. If you remove the injuries from his system, he averages 93.6 from 19 games in the regular season. And yeah, that's above his price stat point of 87.5. Am I right in saying that? 87.6. Okay, not 87.5, but the 87.6 I have down. Should be priced at around about the 899k. Let me just double check that for you guys. Times by the 10.26 multiplier. He's priced at 906k, so I'm slightly off there. Let me just double check that. 87.6 times the 10.26. 898.76. So yeah, 899k for the likes of Tom Stewart. So yeah, basically 900k. Similar situation as the likes of a Max Holmes. If we just go here and show you guys. When he had midfield time, if we go above 40%, because that generally is the indicator for midfield time, you'll see that when he had midfield time, he went 106 or 107, in 8 games. So there definitely is scope if he's starting in the midfield. But with the addition of Baz Smith, I don't know if he necessarily, and also the sort of emergence of Jai Clark potentially, and also the emergence of Mitchell Nevitt. I don't know if he gets a run in that midfield, and also could potentially have Sean Manor taking some midfield time, and also Max Holmes turning into a full-on baller that could actually take away time, and he could just be back at his half-back role where he probably averages 95 or so. So there's probably no value in Tom Stewart at the moment. Then we go to Jai Clark, a guy that has in the past done really well, but also has struggled to really make a name for himself after sort of being hailed as the successor to Joel Selwood a couple of years ago. It's kind of surprising to see him not really be able to kick on. You can see one game in 23 for 36, I think, as a sub. And then also in 2024, 15 games. As you see, where is it? Where's that 2023 game? Does it have a 2023 game? Where's that? I swear he played. It says here 2023, 1 game. Where is that 2023 game? I don't see it in their system here, which is quite awkward. Oh, there it is here. Yeah, sub for a 36 from 25% time on ground. You'll see here that if you look at his VFL in 2023, he averaged in 6 games 66. I should have probably put his 2024 numbers on the VFL, but we can double check that anyway. If I go here and go here and go here, there we go. Then we go to 2024 and go to Clark here. You can see 88.6 from 8 games. I will update that for you guys there. I'll put that in, write that down. So that's VFL 2024 numbers in. So there you go. So I'll update that in due course. But yeah, 8 games at a VFL level in 2024 for 88.6 shows that he does have the potential. We just haven't seen it, and I just don't know if he necessarily breaks into that best 22 and is a massive threat for the sub. But also we get a good look at him early on. And yeah, my notes basically say, will Jai Clark take the next step and get game time in the middle for Geelong? We know that he also, if we look at his time on ground, you'll see that his points per minute isn't actually the worst. It's, I mean, it's 0.66, but when he's non-sub, you'll see that his points per minute probably is actually a lot better. It might actually be worse, to be honest with you. But you can see he generally goes around. I would say that that's a 0.8 normally, his points per minute, 55.9 average in 11 games in non-sub games. So yeah, I think he genuinely could be a guy that could be worthwhile in the next year for Geelong if they do just play him. And yeah, as I said in my notes actually here, average 88.6 in 8 VFL games in 2024 with 2 big 125 plus scores. And yeah, he'll be the one that I'm intrigued about in opening round if he gets a start there. The next guy is Mitch Nevitt. Mitch Nevitt, if we just go here, Mitch Nevitt, there we go. I think he's an intriguing guy to look at here because he's shown that he can do it, but also shown been given limited amount of time. In the VFL, he's averaged 88.5 and 88.8 in 23 and 24 respectively from 13 and 16 games respectively. If you look at the AFL, he choked his average in 2024 with a sub game here, but when he doesn't actually play sub, if we just look at the 3 games that he hasn't played sub, he's averaged 55, which is up from the 41.3, but annoyingly, he will be priced off of his 2023 numbers of 51.6. From the 8 games he played there. If we look at his numbers when he was non-sub in those games, you'll see that in 5 games there he's got that, and he also had a sub game. So he had 64.2 in the 5 games that he played non-sub in 2023, which equates to about 20 points of value directly from the AFL level. So could he be a 70 guy at AFL level? It's an interesting one. I think suggests he could. The numbers suggest he could do plus 30, which is sort of the threshold that I sort of look at for research. But I just don't know if he gets game time with Bazza Smith into the midfield or wing rotation at Geelong. So yeah, I just have a feeling he could be sub material, and that just absolutely stuffs his price over. The next guy we are going to talk about is actually from the rookie draft. I don't like any of their main draft picks, and I have forgotten, as I always do, just to go straight off track with this. Tom Stewart we talked about. Mitch Duncan is getting old. Zach Guthrie, no. Lawson Humphries, I think just priced too high to be of value. He'd have to go 105, I think, and I just don't think he gets that. Cullen Jassing, no. De Koning, no. I don't think De Koning plays ruck this year, as I think Conway will be ready, and or they'll just go with Blickarbs again or Stanley again. O'Connor, Henry, no. Buse, no. Connor, no. Mullen, no. Burke and Hoffman, I don't think so yet. And then we get to Dangerfield, no. Bowes, no. Dempsey, no. Atkins, no. These guys are just all too highly priced, I feel like, to make any impact. I don't think Dempsey is going to go 95 or whatever that he probably needs to, because that is around the same price as Doherty. Blickarbs, no. Guthrie, no. Jai Clark, we already talked about. Nevitt, we already talked about. George Stevens, I don't think he takes that next step. I don't think his VFL numbers were too kind, I don't think. George Stevens here, 73.8 in the 19 games. I just don't see him getting a run in. So they're all right numbers, but they're not the outlandishly great numbers. He's about plus 50 on what he'd be priced at AFL level, but plus 50, I mean, it does get into that range that I was talking about, but I just don't see him being scoring too well. I think he's shown he can score in the 90s at VFL level, but a lot of the guys that do really well at AFL level, just look at even guys like Fiorini scoring 132, he's not going to do that. Buse, Atkins, Lyons, Peatling at VFL level did 120, he averaged about 60 at AFL level. I mean, different role, but same sort of similar thought process there. I'm just trying to find any other guys that did play a little bit AFL level. Like Neb Moyle was about 40 less at AFL level in the exact same role. So yeah, that sort of gives you that idea. I feel like that these guys generally do drop down quite a lot, because they also don't get the first time the big role that they generally get at VFL level. So yeah, I don't think George Stevens would average 70 at AFL level. I feel like it'd be more like 50, which kind of is near enough that is not really that valuable, I don't feel like. So who's up next? So we got Xavier Ivicic. If we actually go, I don't know if this guy will show on the actual thing. Yeah, it doesn't show here, so I have to go to this one here and go to, I think he played Coates, did he? Yep, Coates League. So there's that. If we just go to Coates League here, you'll see Xavier here. Where is he? Xavier Lindsay? No. We want Ivicic, 97.7 in 6 games. Let me just clear out the rest of these guys here. There you go. So as you see, 6 games, 97.7. In 2023, 10 games for 62.9. Yes, he's a rookie draft selection from 2024, but I feel like he's probably the best suited for Geelong, given that they went a lot of tools. And he's the best suited one to non-debutant to play in 2025, just due to his general speed as outlined in his draft profile. I could go to that on Rookie Me as well. Xavier Ivicic, Rookie Me, I think it is the best way to get to him probably. There you go. footy IQ, inside-outside balance, running capability, work rate. His contested work or impact per possession is the two things that he needs to work on. But you see, these are two attributes that I think, if you're one of the lower guys, these are the two attributes that, and footy IQ as well, that those three attributes are huge for getting games early. And yeah, as I say in my notes as well, we know that outside strong runners have good early transition into AFL in year one. He might not play, but play the most fantastic footy role, but I think he could get an early debut, and has shown in the Coach League that he can rack up the pill in those 6 games with 25 touches per game, 5 marks, 3 or 4 tackles a game. So I feel like he could do really well at AFL level, and even if that's just a 55 or 60 average in a wing type role or a half forward type role, we've seen Mana do it, we've seen guys on the wing do it for Geelong. So like Ollie Dempsey averaged 73. Wingers generally average somewhere between that 60 to 75, whether it be rookies or just generally guys. The only outliers are sort of the Errol Goulden and the Josh Dacos are the general outliers. Outside of that, for wingers, they are in that 60 to 75 bracket. Then we get to the forwards as Renshaw, and also, we talked about Ivicic. I probably butchered that. Toby Conway here, if we look at his stats as well, let's just go here. Conway, I just want to also just keep track. Am I keeping these videos shorter? Yes, 16-minute mark. 5 games, 75. So he'll be priced, I think, in and around the 70 marker. 75.2 times the 0.85 is the 64 marker. He'd probably have to go about 90 to be valuable, 90, 95 to be valuable. Has the early buy as well, so I don't think you really want to pick him, to be honest with you, especially given that he's going to be priced at 656k. I don't think you can have him on the bench. It's not like last year when he was priced at like 326, was he last year, I think? Last year he would have been priced at 48 times the 0.73, which was 35 times by the magic number of last year, was 316k, give or take. So yeah, I just don't think you can have him in your side, to be honest. Even though he's a really decent enough VFL player, I just don't think he's had enough games, to be honest, as well. He's only had, I think, like the 10 games this year, if not less. Look at his 2024 campaign. That's his 2024 campaign. 9 games across both AFL and VFL level. I just don't think that's enough. And he got injured again. So that's a no from me. Reece Stanley, no. Mitchell Edwards, don't think he gets starts. I think he could be one of the good ones in the VFL though. So look at him next year, and then those 2 draftees. Then we get to the Geelong forwards. Myers at 85.2. If he wants to hold that 85 average, he's probably got to go at about 88, and I just don't think you can do that, especially when you've got guys like Bazza Smith from Geelong directly as well, who is value. Similar concept with Jeremy Cameron. Then we get down to Sean Manor. Sean Manor's an interesting case, can I just say. If we look at Sean Manor here, Manor, I think I have some of his VFL stats as well from 23. 21 games in 2023 at 110.5. In 2022, similar VFL as well, I believe. VFL, let me just put that in. 18 games, 95. 12 games in 2024 at 75.7. But if you remove the first 2 games, because he really just didn't get going, and you go back to his regular season performances there, you'll see he averaged 82.6 in 8 games. Could he push top sort of 10 range? It will be interesting. And he could be a guy that we sort of just look at late on because he can just fire in a game. So I feel like he's not a starting pick, but at 72.9, priced at 748k, he could be a guy that lingers around that sort of 850k range, and then you're just looking at him in case, because he's probably, he may pick up midfield status across the year, but I feel like he's a guy that can be used out of the off the forward line bench potentially late on in the year. So yeah, he's just a guy that I'd look at because he can rack up the pill very, very easily for Geelong. And we've seen that before, and yeah, his VFL numbers are pretty strong as well, or strong-ish. VFL 8 games at 86, so he's shown that I think he can do it near enough that 86 range at AFL level this year, which will be interesting to see how he goes. And could he get more midfield time, or will he just be that jack-in-the-box half forward? Will be interesting as well. Then we go further down, Tyson Stengel, don't think he's value. Then we go down even further, Neil, no. Close, no. Ollie Henry, no. Ted Closey, another interesting guy. I think we have to go to the VFL Fantasy to reference him. Ted Closey, I've spelled that wrong. There you go, 17 games at VFL level in 2024 for a 102.9, up from his 2023 form of 85.3. If you look at Ted Closey in this as well, I'm pretty sure you'll find that he's priced at 25.8 for next year, just because of a couple games in 2024. Yeah, so he gets a 24% discount on his 34 points per game, which is a 25.84. Times that by the magic number, and you get him at 265k straight up. 265k for Closey. Yeah, he's just above minimum price or a basement price. Could be interesting if he gets games. I just don't know if he does. He has basically not played AFL time that is non-sub related. But yeah, if he gets games, he will absolutely outdo that price, I feel like. And yeah, have one of the best VFL campaigns out of any of the AFL listed players, averaging over 100, especially for that extent of time. And comes into this year as a forward price just over basement price, as I said. Could he play a half forward line and average in the mid-60s, or even match Manners' efforts of last year? A definite buy if he... a definite buy, I spelt that wrong. Yeah, that version of buy, not the actual buy in terms of yeah, the early buys, late in-season buys, etc. But a definite buy, as in purchase, if he plays well and scores well in round 0. As a non-sub player, if given he gets the early double price jump, and yeah, he could be a guy that goes up to 400k before his buy, just simply because he could go 70, 70, 70. And then suddenly at round 3 buy, he's 400k, and you can move him on to someone else. Move him on to another forward or something like that, or a forward mid, etc. Or put him, or have a utility, etc. and go anywhere. He could be a guy that makes the early cash gen quickly. So just a watch there. Then the last guy we got to talk about Jack Martin, is the likes of Bailey Smith. Enough needs to be said about this. Like, there's only so much you can say about him, because he is pretty much first name in the forward line type of player. If we look at it, his 20, look at those numbers. He's going to be priced off of 2023's 83.3 times by 70. Which gets him out at 58.3, which we know already is, which 58.3 times by the 10.26, we know is 598k. We know that that's been confirmed, 598k for him. 598k, like, he could easily go 80s, let alone, I have a feeling he gets more midfield time, and more midfield time for him would suggest, in my opinion, that he goes further up the pedestal, and I feel like he could go up towards, like, midfield time for him last year. If we look at it last year, in 2023, if we look at him having meaningful midfield minutes in 2023, he averaged 89.4 in 11 games with meaningful midfield minutes. The year before that, if we go back to 2022, when he had meaningful midfield minutes, I'm pretty sure this is pretty much every single game I'm looking at here. Every single game, pretty much. A 105.6 in 16 games in 2020. The 104.4 in the 17 games in 2022 for them. So yeah, if he gets meaningful midfield minutes, I expect in the mid-90s. He could also just go back up to that 104 that he had in 2022, which would be absolutely awesome. And yeah, that ACL injury is helping us out as it knocks away that 104.4 season price stat, given that he didn't play in 2024. If he had played one game in 2024, that wouldn't actually apply anyway, because it would be 2 seasons. But yeah, he would, it's just lucky that he didn't play, or that it's a couple seasons down the line, else that would have absolutely hurt his price. It would have increased his price by another 14 or something like that, I think. So we're lucky about that. Word from preseason is that he's playing on ball in 2025, and thus is an almighty lock of a non-rookie player in 2025, even though he has the early double bye. In my opinion, he'll be the top scorer in the forward line in 2025, and he comes in an F4, F5 range to start. Even though he has the early, the double bye, I feel like he's going to be the top average in the forward line for 2025. And he's going to do it by some margin, I feel like. So anyway, I think that is the Geelong preview done just like that. I think that's a good place to finish on them, a good timing as well. So anyway, if you did enjoy that video there, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And for those listening on Spotify, remember to chuck me a follow and a rating over there so that you know as well. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next recap. I guess tomorrow for you guys, 12 p.m. for the likes of the recap of the preview, of the Gold Coast Suns for 2025. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.